Overnight, President Trump going hard on some of his really political allies, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, others. This is what he wrote about Carlson. Again, they have been critical of the war in Iran. He wrote, Carlson, who couldn't even finish college, he was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. That was some of the nicer stuff he wrote. CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten is here right now. So the president attacking Tucker Carlson going after the president on Iran and other things. When voters who are predisposed to like both of them look at this, I suppose the question is, what do they see? How are they doing with Republicans and Republican leading independents?
Yeah, let's start off with Tucker Carlson, who has been in absolute free fall with Republicans. I mean, just take a look at this. Look at this trend line. Tucker Carlson's net favorable. Back in March of 2024, when he and Donald Trump were very close friends, look at this. He was at plus 54 points. Look at where he is today at only plus 7 points among Republicans, and that includes GOP-leaning independents. I mean, that is a drop of what, 47 percentage points. My goodness gracious, when you go up against Donald Trump and you want to appeal to the Republican base, to quote the movie Good Burger, you go on the grinder, and that is exactly what has happened to Tucker Carlson, who has absolutely collapsed among Republicans.
So if it is a choice between the president and Tucker Carlson among these voters, what do they basically say?
Yeah, they choose Donald Trump basically every single time. Look at this. Okay, the exact same poll, this UMass Lowell poll. Look at this. Net favorables among Republicans. Again, this is Republicans plus Republican-leaning independents. You see Carlson on the right side of your screen at plus 7 points. Look at where Donald Trump is at plus 61 points. And this is actually a little bit low for Donald Trump. In other polls around the same time, he was even higher than this. Again, he is crushing Tucker Carlson. What is this? This is a 54-point advantage for Donald Trump over Tucker Carlson when it comes to who is more popular among Republican voters. And of course, this is even just talking about the MAGA base, where Donald Trump is running an approval rating somewhere between 97 and 100%.
Okay, so what does this mean for Tucker Carlson going forward? Say Tucker Carlson wanted to build some kind of a platform where he could run for office, say president.
Yeah, okay. So you see Donald Trump crushing Tucker Carlson here. Take a look at this. Look at the Kalshi prediction markets when it comes to his chance, Tucker Carlson's chance to be the 2028 GOP nominee for president. It's just 5. When you can put it on one hand, you know it's low. It's just 5% that Tucker Carlson actually has enough support within the GOP, at least those who are putting their money where their mouth is, to actually be the GOP nominee in 2028. Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance are running well ahead of him.
Okay, so again, in this imaginary world, if the prediction markets are wrong, Tucker Carlson were to become a candidate, how might he do?
Okay, why don't we take a look against the most likely Democratic nominee, Gavin Newsom? And this is, I think, so important because it's not just that Tucker Carlson struggles now with Republicans. He is electoral poison when it comes to general electorate. So Gavin Newsom versus potential GOP nominees in the 2028 presidential matchup. Against Tucker Carlson, look at this. Gavin Newsom crushes Tucker Carlson by 11 points. J.D. Vance actually beat Gavin Newsom in this poll by 3. So Tucker Carlson, very much struggling, runs way behind the GOP baseline in the general election as well.
You pick Newsom because he's leading in some of these early polls.
He's the most likely Democratic nominee in the prediction markets at this point.
Interesting. Vance beats him right now, but Tucker Carlson, not so much.
Not so much. Not well liked among Republicans and not well liked, hated among the general electorate.
Harry Enten, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've got a lot of great political reporting today here at CNN, and I'm going to bring yours in now, Aaron. You did a great piece about the divide among sort of MAGA media, people with big MAGA platforms in the podcast universe in particular. And one of the things that you talk about are Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and people like that who are really separating from the president. The president put out a pretty lengthy social media post about this yesterday, and I'm just going to read part of it to you. You have it there on the screen. Pardon me, my allergies. Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college, he was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. Narrator's note, I should tell you. Tucker Carlson went to the White House as recently as February 23rd, 5 days before the war began. Okay, Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question. Narrator's note, she campaigned with Trump in November of 2024. Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man, and she is not. She interviewed the president in 2021 at Mar-a-Lago. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune, as he should have, for his horrendous attack on the families of Sandy Hook shooting victims, ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. And final narrator's note, Trump appeared on Alex Jones' show in December of 2015. It was a little while ago, but he said to him, "Your reputation is amazing."
It's been pretty remarkable to see the influencer class, the kind of independent media types, including some of the ones that we just saw there, split with Trump over the war in ways that we haven't necessarily seen the opinion hosts on a Fox News or conservative media traditional broadcast. And what I did is I actually looked at the Spotify charts to see the top podcasts.
And we're going to put that up because it's fascinating.
It's very interesting because the top 14 podcasts on Spotify, 6 of those podcasts, these are not all politics podcasts, but 6 of those people happen to be people who have aligned with Trump in one way or another or endorsed him in the 2024 campaign, but have split with him at least on the war, if not on other issues. So that creates this kind of unusual and unprecedented dynamic where people who are subscribing to these shows and hearing them, who may be more casual voters, maybe not, politics watchers intensely, are getting some very skeptical takes on these issues in ways that they may not have otherwise before. And so I'm going to be really interested to see how this might play out in the election. I don't know if we know exactly how something like this plays, but it is very one-sided right now in this space.
And these numbers are so remarkable, I thought, because these are the most popular podcast. So this is a lot of people we're talking about. This is a very big audience, probably, no offense, bigger than CNN daytime, right, in the aggregate. And this is a lot of people who are, hypothetically, potentially interested in Trump's politics, who are now hearing, as you said, a lot of criticism from a lot of these figures in a space that is not all that political, right? So these are exactly the type of infrequent potential voters that Republicans are so worried about in November, because those are the ones that they think Trump is discouraging and at risk of losing.
When we look at how all of this is playing out for the president, it has been striking this week to hear the backlash from a number of voices in conservative and MAGA media when it comes to the president, specifically his threats involving Iran and annihilation of a culture. Take a listen to some of that.
I don't know about you, but I am sick of this. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human? I mean, honestly, like the president, 3D chess, shut up. Shut up about that. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization.
It is vile on every level. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight. How dare you speak that way on Easter morning to the country? Who do you think you are?
How do we 25th Amendment his ass? And if I was the Democrats, I'd stop poking Trump and messing with him. That only makes it worse. Like, you guys need to watch out. This isn't a guy acting like he's crazy. This is real.
So there you have some of the backlash, which is, based on what we're seeing from the president, it's making its way to him.
I see no altruism in any of it. I'm sorry to be so cynical. It's all about clicks. Look, President Trump is never one to turn the other cheek. So when they engage him, of course he was going to respond in kind. But this is exactly what makes that part of the media industry, sadly, thrive. It's all about clicks and eyes to websites and so forth. And something has changed. There's a very fragmented media landscape now. It used to be that on the right, it was a world of terrestrial talk radio and Fox News. There were corporate interests and there were some parameters around behavior. Now it's individuals who are entrepreneurs with very few guardrails, and it's fueled toxicity.
I want to get your pulse on, look, President Trump blasting right-wing pundits who've criticized the war. Public polling, though, does show Trump's war with Iran is backed by a large majority of Republican voters. But do you believe the likes of Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and more speak for a significant part of Trump's base? How do you assess their voices in this?
The voices matter. And the fact that the president doesn't have a united front at this moment among people who backed him in 2024 is of obvious concern. But the critical nature for me, as a pollster, are the independents. These are individuals who will vote in 2026, are not aligned by political party, are not particularly ideological, and are not particularly political. And their opinions matter most because they're the deciding vote in the 24 seats that determine who controls the Congress. And right now, their hostility to the war, at least at this moment, is going to be a problem for the Republicans. But again, it's only the middle of April, and so much can change between now and then.
Yeah.
It's still a warning sign. There are red lights flashing everywhere. But that just tells me that the White House and Congress needs to do a better job of explaining why, how, and what happens at the end.